Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Maddie here, and last night the entire B1 expansion was leaked. Not only do we have the entire card list, but we have all of the information regarding updates and features coming in the next month or 2 months to Pokemon Pocket. In today's video, we're going to be doing our entire comprehensive set list review of Mega Rising, the new B1 expansion coming tonight to Pokemon Pocket. In fact, we will be going live for the release of this expansion live on YouTube and on Twitch. Don't forget to come and hang out. It's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, but anyway, in today's video, we're doing the full set review. Some people might not want to be spoiled by all of these cards, but again, to be honest with you, they're all over the interwebs anyway. So, you know, if you don't want to be spoiled, why did you click on the video? You know what I mean? But anyway, let's just dive right into it. So there are 3 different booster packs in B1. There are a lot of new cards. One thing that I'm going to say before we get into this, just to preface, is that every expansion that comes to Pokemon Pocket has a small collection of really strong cards that are going to impact the metagame, and then just literally like dozens and dozens of filler cards that are just absolutely terrible. That's just how it goes. So anybody that doesn't necessarily understand that, that's what's going to be going on in today's video. A lot of these cards are just not going to be very good. In fact, we're not really going to be talking about all of the cards. We're just going to talk about the ones that I believe are probably worth talking about. So don't forget to like and subscribe. By the way, go and register for the Pocket Mads Pocket Tournament number 6 this weekend, Saturday at noon, sponsored by Box.gg. $250 in the prize pool. This is the first large major tournament competitive environment for you to play with the new Mega Rising cards. Really exciting. Go register, link down in the description below. Let's get into the set review. So a couple of these cards we've already talked about, just as an example, like Pinsir EX, which is the first one on the list here. This is Mega Pinsir EX. Not only have we covered this card in a previous video, but we have also, built deck lists with a lot of these Mega Pokemon in yesterday's video. So I'm not going to spend too much time talking about them. Here is Mega Pinsir EX. If you want some more detailed information or opinions about this card, go check out, 2 of my last videos on the channel. That'll definitely give you some more context. I just don't want to reiterate myself too much. So here's the card. We've already talked about it. Definitely pretty interesting. Let's skip ahead here to Beautifly, a new 3 diamond rarity card here, 130 HP. It does have Skill Dive, 50 damage to any one of your opponent's Pokemon. Definitely not a bad card. This is quite a bit of HP, even for a Beautifly, a single prize Pokemon. 50 damage to any of your bench Pokemon. Again, there's a lot of cards in the set that are never going to see play, but aren't necessarily like bad cards. They're just not things that, can kind of make the cut when it comes to playing competitive decks. We also have Dustox, which makes sense as well, right? Select Powder, 60 damage for also 1 energy. Choose either Poison or Confused, and your opponent's active Pokemon is then affected by that status condition. Very interesting couple of cards there. Again, nothing too special. Both of these cards here, I think it'll show. Yeah, so this is going. Dustox is in the Blaziken pack. I do want to showcase that for all of these cards. And then Beautifly also in the Blaziken pack, and I think Mega Pinsir also in the Blaziken pack. So each pack I think will have 2 Mega Pokemon. The Blaziken pack does have Pinsir EX and those 2 Grass type cards that we just took a look at, Beautifly and Dustox. Next up we have Shiftree. Nipping Cyclone, 70 damage for 2 Grass. Discard a random card from your opponent's hand. Again, a fairly strong effect there, but on a card that just likely won't see any play. It's a stage 2 non-EX Pokemon. Definitely kind of tough to justify. It's also in the Mega Blaziken pack, so I guess all of these Grass Pokemon are going to be in the Mega Blaziken pack. Now, next up here, let's skip ahead to Whimsicott EX. So some people were curious if we would be getting like all of the EX cards in B1 were going to be Mega Pokemon. I really didn't think that would be the case. There's only so many Mega Pokemon in the game, and if they have to stretch out all of those Mega Pokemon throughout this entire year of Pokemon Pocket, then it makes sense for them not to have, every single EX card be Megas, because then they would run out. So 6 Megas in this set, and then I believe there's like 9 regular EX cards in the set. I could be wrong about that, but effectively, other than the 6 Megas, the rest of them are non-Mega EX Pokemon. Let's talk about Whimsicott first. This is actually going to be in the Mega Altaria pack. And Whimsicott EX, and one thing that's actually really interesting about this is going to be a long video again, by the way. What's really interesting about all of the, or most of the non-Mega EX Pokemon that are coming in Mega Rising in B1, they're all like really specific hard counters to previously existing relevant Pokemon in the metagame right now, right? So Whimsicott EX, 140 HP Grass type EX Pokemon stage 1. It does Grass Knot, 40 damage for 1 Grass, 1 colorless, so very easy to set this thing up. We also have Leaf Cape to bring it up to 170. We have Erika's. This attack does 30 more damage for each energy in your opponent's active Pokemon's retreat cost. So again, what I just said about this, these cards being kind of specific counters to other cards, Whimsicott EX here is a direct counterplay to Guzzlord. This is a card that will entirely solo Guzzlord. Only 2 energies in the attack cost, 40 plus, what is this, 120 is 160. Hitting for weakness, you are 1 at KOing a Guzzlord EX. So that's what's interesting about all of these cards. They might not seem all like super strong, but they are specifically really, really good into other Pokemon that have existed or do exist currently in the metagame. So Whimsicott kind of just here as a direct Guzzlord counter. Definitely not a terrible card, but just something that, again, you know, you might not like. It's really tough, right? Because there's the 6 Mega Pokemon, which are definitely the cornerstones of this expansion, and a lot of the other cards definitely don't feel like they are going to carry as hard as those other Pokemon, which makes sense, right? Not every card can be absolutely broken. The Mega Pokemon are definitely sort of the front runners of this set, but all of these other EX Pokemon are really specific in terms of what they do. Whimsicott EX here, definitely just hard countering Guzzlord EX, which is very, very interesting. Whimsicott, again, going to be in the Mega Altaria pack. Next up, we have Lilligant. This is one of the front runners as well, like one of the more popular Pokemon that they're showcasing for this set. This is actually also a crown rare, which we'll talk about later. This is going to be also in the Mega Altaria pack. This is a 3-diamond card, 80 HP. It has Toughness Aroma. Each of your grass Pokemon get 20 plus HP, and this is going to be a stackable ability. So if we have double Lilligant on the bench, every grass Pokemon, including those Lilligants, will get plus 40 HP. The effect is actually kind of strong. This could be really useful in some decks. I don't know if it's something that we're necessarily, you know, going to play in grass type decks, but it is certainly a very interesting ability here. We do have May. We have other different support cards to find evolution Pokemon now in B1. We'll talk about May later on if you guys don't know about it already. But yeah, plus 20 HP is effectively a giant cape for all of your grass Pokemon, right? So if we have 4 grass Pokemon in play, Lilligant is effectively giving plus 80 HP. And if we have double Lilligant, that's 160 total HP added to the board. That seems really, really strong. Leaf Cape combined with double Lilligant is going to be 70 plus HP, which is a lot of HP, to be fair. And we have access to Erika's. I think that Lilligant has potential. I've talked about it a little bit already. I don't really know if the breakpoints are going to matter. And by breakpoints, I mean like specific thresholds of HP amounts or damage amounts, right? And that's really why a lot of these sort of healing abilities or HP, you know, buffing abilities don't really matter that much. And again, we play Giant Cape in basically every deck in the game, right? So there's maybe going to be some scenarios where these grass type Pokemon, you know, with extra HP are going to be relevant, but we're likely moving into a 2-hit KO metagame, so it's a little bit more or less likely that, you know, 20 or 40 plus HP is going to make or break the difference of you living 2 attacks or not. But if it does in some specific scenarios or interactions in this new meta, Lilligant definitely could be really good. It's just hard to know until the metagame develops. But anyway, there's Lilligant also in the Mega Altaria pack, a very, very cool Pokemon. I'm going to skip all the way ahead here to Rillaboom. So Rillaboom is a stage 2 Pokemon, 150 HP. Drum Rush for 4 energies, 120, but it has the ability Captivating Rhythm. Once during your turn, you may flip a coin. If heads, switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon to the active spot. This is interesting. I don't know if we really want an effect like this on a 50-50 chance, especially on a stage 2 Pokemon. I think we've seen something similar to this before. I'm not a big fan of Captivating Rhythm. Theoretically, you can play Will, and it's a guaranteed Cyrus, but why not just play Cyrus in your deck? You know what I mean? So I'm not a huge fan of Rillaboom personally, but the ability is fairly interesting, and it is a 2-diamond card. This is also in the Mega Altaria booster pack. All right, let's fast forward to some of the Fire-type Pokemon. Again, we're skipping through all of the things that I just wouldn't really consider to be super relevant, but the link to the entire article, entire set list will be down in the description below if you want to flip through everything. I have skimmed through this before, so only the cards that I believe are somewhat relevant we're going to mention. So I do actually want to mention Virizion before we move on. There are the 3 of the, like the Justice Trio or whatever they're called, Virizion, Terrakion, and Cobalion. There's also Keldeo. So there's 4 Pokemon that are all coming in B1 that are all of this sort of grouping here, just like the legendary beasts, and they all effectively do the exact same thing. They do 110 damage for 2 colored energy and 1 colorless, and then you can't attack on your next turn. So there's Virizion, Cobalion, Terrakion, Keldeo. They all do the same thing of their respective typings. So keep that in mind. These cards are in the game. I don't think that they're going to be that relevant, but 110 damage can be pretty nice. So keep that in mind. There they are. All right, moving forward to the Fire-type Pokemon. The first one we're going to take a look at is actually Rapidash EX. There is a new Rapidash EX. So stage 150 HP Fire-type. It has Sprinting Flare, 110 damage for 3 fire energies. This attack also does 20 damage to one of your benched Pokemon. Or sorry, one of your opponent's benched Pokemon. This is interesting. I don't know if we would ever play Rapidash over things like Flareon. And the reason I say that, and I know the attacks are technically different, but Flareon has access to, all of the broken abilities and effects that the EVs have. Not only that, but you have access to EV Bag, and then you can play other evolutions like Sylveon and stuff in the deck. Rapidash, to me, is kind of comparable to Flareon, but it's actually a little bit more comparative to something like a Lucario EX, which, again, never saw play. It is a Fire type, so it has access to Magby and the other Fire type support cards, but at the end of the day, I'm not really a big fan of Rapidash. I don't really know what we're doing here with Rapidash. The 20 damage can be nice to maybe take a KO or 2 KOs in the same attack here, but again, like, we're in a metagame now with Mega Pokemon, 110 HP. If a Mega Blaziken plays Lily, we're not even 2 KOing. It's a bit of an awkward card, a little bit underwhelming to me. This definitely feels like sort of a filler EX card. I just don't really know the reasoning for playing Rapidash. I would almost rather play Arcanine EX from Genetic Apex. So yeah, here you go, Rapidash EX. Sure, I don't really have any other opinions about it, to be honest with you. We are getting a 3-Diamond Ho-Oh. By the way, if we go back, so Rapidash is going to be in the Mega Blaziken pack. I gotta remember to do that. Okay, 3-Diamond Ho-Oh, also from the Mega Blaziken pack, 120 HP basic, 3-Diamond, 4 energies here, 2 fire, 2 colorless, Blessed Burn, 100 damage, and you heal 30 damage from each of your basic benched Pokemon. Not a terrible card, but again, like, these are cards that just probably won't see that much play. These are the types of cards that you would maybe slot into a deck to KO Oricorio. That's really the purpose for a lot of these cards, but a 4 energy attack cost just to get around Oricorio was a little bit steep. What we like to see is, an easily techable option that has maybe 2 or 3 energies that can KO an Oricorio. Ho-Oh here, just a little bit steep of an attack cost, but the healing can be definitely kind of nice. Next up is going to be the non-EX Blaziken, which is also in the Mega Blaziken pack. And this is basically Blaziken, Mega Blaziken EX, but just not as strong. But theoretically speaking, you can play, this card as well as Mega Blaziken EX, like in the same deck, right? You can play more than 1 copies of those, so keep that in mind. You could play this maybe just to counter Oricorio, but Blaziken does burning anyway with Rocky Helmet, as we talked about in yesterday's video. Anyway, 140 HP, 2 fire energies, 100 damage. Discard a fire energy from this Pokemon. Again, fairly underwhelming. A lot of these cards here are just sort of filler cards, I'm not going to lie. And then, of course, Mega Blaziken, the front runner of really B1. I would say this is going to be the most popular of all of the Pokemon. We've talked about this numerous different times. I'm a big fan of Blaziken EX, Mega Blaziken. 210 HP, stage 2. We can Lily this thing. We can Giant Cape it. It's going to be a beast. I would recommend playing Rocky Helmet because it does burn on its 120 damage attack for 2 fire energies. And we discard a fire energy from this Pokemon. Really not that big of a deal, to be honest with you. Fire Patch is also coming, or Flame Patch is coming in the set. We'll mention it later in this video. This card is really strong, so it's effectively 140 damage for 2 fire energies with Flame Patch. Really easy to get this thing set up. It's got a ton of HP. This is going to be probably one of the more scary Pokemon in the set, I would say, for sure. But definitely, obviously, in the Mega Blaziken pack, we've already talked about it in detail. There it is. Blaziken, Mega Blaziken EX, definitely pretty cool. Now, a lot of other filler fire-type Pokemon, none of these I find to be that interesting. However, we do have a new 3-Diamond Chandelure card, or Chandelure card, rather, sorry. I called him a Chandelure. He is a Chandelure, but it's Chandelure. 140 HP, it's a stage 2 Pokemon. Heat Blast, 80 damage for 2. This is going to be in the Mega Altaria pack, so don't get confused there. This card is actually kind of crazy. The more I look at this card, the more I realize that this card is actually pretty good and might be worth running. We could rare candy into it, but Slow Sear is the ability. Once during your turn, you may discard the top card of your opponent's deck. And this does stack. You can play this ability more than once if you have multiple Chandelures on your bench. And yeah, discarding the top card of your opponent's deck is kind of crazy from the bench. This is kind of like Greninja, but instead of pinging for 20 damage, we're just discarding a card from their deck. This can stack up. If we can get a Chandelure on our bench on our second turn with rare candy, then no matter what, we're pretty likely going to be discarding 2, 3, 4, 5 cards from our opponent's deck. And that can kind of just win you the game. Discarding cards like that is exceptionally strong. I think that Gyarados EX is also strong for that exact reason, but Chandelure being able to do it from an ability on the bench is kind of crazy. I don't know if this is going to be worth teching into any fire-type decks, but if it is, if there is an archetype that makes sense to play Chandelure, this card can just straight up win you games, because if you're playing against, any evolution Pokemon deck and then you just discard their evolution Pokemon, or you discard like a crucial card from their deck no matter what it is, then that is going to be a massive, massive deal. So discarding like this is exceptionally strong, especially from an ability on the bench. I really like Chandelure. I don't know if it will see play, but on paper, the effect is actually really, really strong. Next up, we do have Pyroar here, Fire Blast 130, discard 2 fire energy from this Pokemon. Again, another filler card here. It's a little bit disappointing. A lot of the 3 diamond cards are just like cards that never would see play. Some of them have like useful effects that you could throw into a deck, but most of these like attacking Pokemon that are 3 diamond cards really are just not that good. And we've seen that with most of these at this point. It's just sort of the way that Pokemon Pocket goes, unfortunately. They're like EX cards, but just not as good. You know what I mean? So it's kind of disappointing. But anyway, fast forwarding into the water type Pokemon, we are getting this new Magikarp with Waterfall Evolution. We've talked about this in yesterday's video. I don't think it's worth playing this Magikarp. 3 energies means that you can put a random card from your deck that evolves from this Pokemon onto it to evolve it. But this is an attack, not an ability, right? So we have to bring Magikarp into the active spot to use this, which means our opponent effectively gets a free turn to attack our Gyarados or Mega Gyarados. And again, this does work for Mega Gyarados or any other Gyaradoses in the game, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I don't really like Waterfall Evolution. I would rather just play Leap Out. It still has 30 HP. There might be a case to even play this card if it had 40 HP so that you can't get sniped from the bench, but 30 HP, I would not play Waterfall Evolution. But we are getting another new, this is like the 3rd or 4th Gyarados coming, that's a non-EX, and this is coming in the Mega Gyarados pack. It makes sense because we did get the non-EX Blaziken, but anyway, a new Gyarados here, 140 HP, Hammering Tail, 4 water energies, 100 damage, and you discard the top card of your opponent's deck. So again, basically, all of these non-EX versions of these Mega Pokemon are kind of the exact same thing, just a little bit worse, which does kind of make sense. 140 HP is a lot on a Stage 1 Pokemon, but 4 water energies to do 100 damage and discard the top card of your deck. To be honest with you, this isn't even that bad. There's a lot of ways to get water energy on Pokemon, but, you know, maybe we play this on top of 2 Mega Gyarados EXs just to kind of counterplay something like a Oricorio deck if we go up against it. That could be definitely pretty relevant, but 4 energies is kind of steep. I like kind of the Wild Swing Gyarados that we got most recently that's seen play in the metagame. Next up, we have Mega Gyarados EX, 210 HP water type Pokemon, of course. We've already talked about this thing. It's an absolute beast. It is the frontrunner of the Mega Gyarados pack. It is the cover art Pokemon. 140 damage for 4 energies. Discard the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck. The odds of you discarding something extremely crucial to your opponent's deck is very, very high. You might think that this is balanced because it's a 4 energy attack cost, so we won't be able to do this that quickly, but with things like Manaphy, with like Mantike, with Misty, we could actually get 4 energies on a Gyarados very, very quickly. Inevitably, it's going to happen very often where Mega Gyarados is fully set up on your opponent's second turn, and they're going to discard the 3 cards that you absolutely need to win the game, and then the game is over. So Mega Gyarados is absolutely broken. Again, it's got 210 HP, by the way. The only thing that's balanced about Gyarados is the fact that to play Gyarados, you have to play Magikarp, which has 30 HP. And there's varying different ways to kind of counterplay this Magikarp. So, yeah, I think that Mega Gyarados is broken. I really, really do. But luckily, there's hard counters to it, so we can get around it. It is also a Water-type Pokemon, or Oricorio does exist. So keep that in mind. Mega Gyarados, kind of crazy, but definitely, definitely an interesting card. We built some decks with it in yesterday's video. Go check that out if you haven't already. Next up, we have Ludicolo, another 3-diamond here. Rhythmic Steps, 60 damage. If you have exactly 1, 3, or 5 cards in your hand, this attack does 60 more damage. Okay, so 120 for 2 on a stage 2 water type Pokemon. Again, like these cards just really aren't that good. This is also coming in Mega Altaria. Keep in mind, there's just so many cards that you would really never ever play. And that's really what the 3 diamond rarity cards are most of the time, which is a little bit unfortunate. So it is what it is. We are getting a Wailord, 200 HP on this guy right here for a single prize Pokemon. Kind of crazy. And this is coming in the Mega Gyarados pack. So it does a Whale Pump, which is a great attack name, 60 damage. And this attack does 10 more damage for each water energy attached to this Pokemon for 4 colorless. So basically, if we have 4 water energies on Wailord, we do 100 damage for 4. The damage here isn't that crazy, but to be honest with you, 200 HP is nuts. You could even just play Mega or Wailord here and just have it be in the active spot and just soak up damage and just give you enough time. You never even have to attach to it. It really is just like a big body. Kind of crazy here, but you know, Wailord cards always have a lot of HP. Again, a card that probably won't see play, but at least it's somewhat unique in the fact that it has 200 HP, which is absolutely hilarious. Pretty crazy. Nothing else really to talk about until we get all the way down to potentially you know, the new fossil Pokemon, right? So there's 2. There's Archeops and there's Caracosta. Shout out to Unova. Shout out to Black and White and Gen 5, the best generation. I say that with my chest. We have a this is the new fossil line. So we're getting 2 new fossil cards. You know, the what is it? The cover fossil evolves into Tortuga, 50 damage for 2, and then it evolves into Caracosta. So Caracosta is really interesting. Again, another stage 2 fossil Pokemon, 150 HP. It's a water type. Blocking Shell. So for 3 water energies, we do 100 100 damage, and you prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from basic Pokemon during your opponent's next turn. So effectively speaking, this is a card that is going to just immediately hard counter any deck that is playing only basic Pokemon, which, you know, would be relevant kind of in the current metagame, but as we go into B1, most of these decks will be playing evolution Pokemon just because most of the all of the Mega Pokemon evolve, right? Not all of them, but most of them do. So, you know, Caracosta could be actually really relevant, given the effect of the attack. We just don't really know exactly what decks are going to be prominent in the metagame, but you know, it's immune to damage by any basic Pokemon. Pretty cool. One thing to note, though, that this is an effect of an attack, so you could just, like, gust around this thing and then KO, like, a benched Caracosta pretty easily. So, like, there is counterplay to it, but a solo Caracosta in the active spot against a deck of only basic Pokemon is an auto-win scenario. So this is definitely an interesting card. I don't know if it's going to see that much play. There is a supporter card that actually heals 70 damage, I believe, from this. I could be wrong about that. Maybe I am, but or it's the other one. There's a supporter card that works with Caracosta, so keep that in mind. We'll talk about that later. Next up, we have Jellicent. This is the bouncy body Jellicent. This is one of those 3 diamonds that actually does kind of have like a purpose. It has like a pretty strong effect. 120 HP, Surf for 60, 2 energies. If this Pokemon is in the active spot and is damaged by an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, take a water energy from your energy zone and attach it to one of your benched Pokemon. So this acts not only like a little bit of a buffer in the active spot to kind of get energies on the board. You could play this with Gyarados. You could play this with really any water type Pokemon. It does generate energies. However, it's not very proactive, and you do have to play 2 Pokemon because it's a stage 1 Pokemon. I don't know if we would really rather ever play this other than playing just like a baby Pokemon or something like a Mantike or a Manaphy. So, I mean, Jellicent is cool, but the HP amount is kind of low. You're just getting 1-hit KO'd anyway. You know what I mean? So if it had like 150 HP or something high, maybe I would justify it. I believe there's a card that heals Jellicent along with Caracosta. I could be wrong about that. We'll talk about it later, but I don't know if Bouncy Body's really ever worth playing, right? If it was a basic Pokemon, then maybe, but it's just like we would rather play, I think, the baby Pokemon or you know, play things like Manaphy, honestly. But anyway, there's Jellicent. It's not a bad card, just a little bit underwhelming in terms of what it's trying to do. Here's Keldeo. That's the water type version of the Virizion that we just took a look at. Sacred Sword, 110. Can attack during your next turn. We have to, I keep forgetting, but we have to mention what packs these cards are in. This one, Caracosta is from Gyarados. Did we miss anything else here? And then, what is it? Jellicent. Jellicent is also in Mega Gyarados, the Gyarados pack. So keep that in mind. We are getting a Greninja EX. And when I saw that Greninja EX was coming, I was a little bit terrified because personally, I was like, oh no, here comes Greninja. Gonna continue to be relevant. But luckily, the card to me is a pretty underwhelming card. It's a stage 2, 170 HP water type Pokemon, retreat cost of 2, which is interesting. Not 1, retreat cost of 2. It has the ability Shifting Stream. Once during your turn, you may switch your active water Pokemon with one of your benched Pokemon. So it's like a free pivot in the ability here. It's like kind of similar to Solgaleo, but it doesn't like swap itself in. It just swaps like any water Pokemon in the active to the bench. I don't know if it's really that worth playing. I'm not going to lie. Like, the ability here is pretty underwhelming. The attack as well, not that great. 100 damage for 2 energies really isn't that bad, but it's nothing really to like write home about. This card is going to be in the Mega Gyarados pack. I think that this card is like objectively much worse than the Water Shuriken Greninja. There's nothing that's like super redeeming about this card. 100 damage, you're not even 2-hit KOing like a Mega Ampharos, for example. You know, it's not that bad. I guess like it's interesting. Like, we could play this with Suicune and then you maybe go, you know, Suicune into Greninja EX, and then you just have like 2 tanky Pokemon that you have to go through. So theoretically speaking, that is a possibility. You know, Irida exists. You can Giant Cape this thing. You have some retreat flexibility. I kind of like it. Like, it's not bad because we do have Elemental Switch in the game, right? So you could play this with Suicune, you know, draw into it by drawing cards with Suicune, you know, deal your damage with your Suicune, and then you actually can go into Greninja pretty early because you can retreat for free with Shifting Stream, and then you can E-switch that energy from Suicune to Greninja. So I think this is like an alternate option of a Pokemon that we can actually pair with Suicune EX that I don't hate. It's just that I don't know if it's going to be any better than playing Greninja EX. Greninja, or not, non-Greninja EX, just the Water Shuriken Greninja. The upside to that is that Greninja not only is a hard counter to Oricorio, but it's absolutely broken with Water Shuriken boosting the damage of Suicune, as well as allowing you to pair Cyrus with it. So I get this card, and I think that it does actually function pretty well with Suicune, but I think we would still rather play the non-EX Greninja in my mind. but definitely an interesting card. Very interesting as far as the cards go. Next up, we have Ice Cube, 80 HP, Ice Face. If at full HP, it takes 40 less damage from attacks of your opponent's Pokemon. You know, this card is just not good. It is a basic, so against Pokemon that, you know, objectively deal 40 or less HP, it's completely immune, which is kind of cool. But like a Pokemon are going to just set up in your face and then want to kill you if they hit for 120 or more damage. So, you know, Ice Cube, it's a bit of a meme card. Definitely kind of interesting. Next up, we are getting a Jolteon EX. This is very exciting to me. I've been waiting for Jolteon EX, and this effect here of this Pokemon is interesting. Let's read into it. 140 HP, stage 1. So what's cool is that it doesn't have 130. You know, you would expect it being a lightning type to have less HP, but 140 HP, retreat cost of 1. I would like free retreat on Jolteon. It's okay. It is what it is. Mach Bolt, 2 lightning energies, 80 damage, so pretty underwhelming from an attack perspective, but the ability here, Electromagnetic Wall. As long as this Pokemon is in the active spot, whenever your opponent attaches an energy from their energy zone to one of their Pokemon, do 20 damage to that Pokemon. This card is coming in the Mega Gyarados pack. Now, this ability here is quite interesting because this works for basically any energy accelerating that's going on. So if your opponent, you know, plays a Misty and they attach 6 energies, then you deal 120 damage to it, which is kind of cool. I think that Jolteon EX here is a card that specifically is quite strong into some of those water type decks, which are going to be playing, you know, a variety of energy accelerating options, because whether you use Mantike or Manaphy or Misty or Giratina or anything that accelerates or generates additional energies, they all come from the energy zone, right? So unless it's coming from the discard pile, like something like a Flame Patch or a Flareon, then you will be dealing 20 damage, and that is per energy, right? So again, it would be really funny to have Jolteon, you know, in play. Keep in mind though, it has to be in the active spot. So that's the difference here with Jolteon. It has to be in the active spot for this effect to work, which makes it a little bit less good here. But there is a new EV that allows you to evolve on your first turn into Jolteon or any of the evolutions, which is really cool. We'll talk about it later. But yeah, if your opponent like flips 10 coins with Misty, it KOs itself if Jolteon's in the active. So I think that's kind of cool. It is hitting for weakness. It's a fast-paced Pokemon, but in general, I just think that a lot of these EX cards are kind of they're a little bit underwhelming in the face of like the new Mega Pokemon that we've gotten, you know what I mean? It is what it is. All right, and next up, we've got Ampharos. So again, we are getting Mega Ampharos EX, and just like all of the other Pokemon, they have non-EX versions of them. So Ampharos, 140 HP. This card, again, they're all very similar to their Mega counterpart. Stage 2 Pokemon here, 90 damage for 3 energies, 2 lightning and a colorless. And then one of your opponent's bench Pokemon is chosen at random, and it does 20 damage to it. So effectively, just a weaker Mega Ampharos EX. They're all kind of the same. Again, they're kind of underwhelming, but theoretically speaking, if you're playing these Mega Pokemon, you can just play maybe one copy of their non-Mega EX versions, and then you can, you know, not get countered by Oricorio, I guess. It's kind of how that works. So Mega Ampharos, of course, coming in the Ampharos pack. Not something that I find to be that relevant or that strong. It is what it is. Next up here, we do have Mega Ampharos EX. I'm very, very excited about. I think all of the Mega Pokemon are going to be the stars of the show here. I think that they really are just like the strongest Pokemon in the game. And everything else definitely feels a little bit lackluster in comparison, other than niche scenarios. But we've talked about Mega Ampharos before. It's going to be strong with Pichu, with Raikou. It's going to be strong with Zeraora. It's going to be strong with Oricorio especially. So the only EX Stage 2 lightning Pokemon we've ever gotten to Pokemon Pocket, and it is a doozy. 100 damage for 3. One of your opponent's bench Pokemon is chosen at random 3 times, and you deal 20 damage to it. So that's 160 damage for 3 lightning. A really, really fun Pokemon. I'm excited for it. We built some early decks with it in yesterday's video. Go check out that video. We are getting a new Luxray, which is also going to be in the Mega Blaziken pack. For some reason here, another new Luxray. We've got Flash Impact, 110 damage for 2 energies on a stage 2, 130 HP Pokemon, and it also does 20 damage to one of your bench Pokemon. So again, why are we playing Luxray? I don't know, just another filler card in the set, unfortunately. Let's go, maybe, what else do we have here? We do have a Dedenne, Electric Nibbling, for 1 colorless, 20 damage, and you discard a lightning energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. So it's a lightning Pokemon that is specifically counterplay to, but it's colorless, so you can play it in any deck, is counter to other lightning Pokemon. So that's strange, right? It's like a weird lightning anti-lightning card. Strange. It's a weird one for sure, but somewhat relevant, so I wanted to mention it. Dedenne is going to be in the Mega Altaria pack. It looks like the cards in the set are definitely spread out pretty evenly across all of the packs for sure. If we fast forward here, we can take a look at Mega Altaria EX. Again, another card that we've talked about. Mega Harmony, 40 damage, 30 damage for each of your benched Pokemon. This thing can hit pretty hard. It pairs well with Aegislash. You can draw a bunch of cards. You can play this with like Sylveon EX, the new Jirachi. There's a lot of really strong Psychic Pokemon. Giratina is another example. Again, the front runner of its own pack, the Mega Altaria pack. Really interesting as well. Next up, though, we have Dusknoir. Dusknoir. So another 3-diamond, 150 HP Pokemon here. Fade into Darkness is the ability. When this Pokemon is knocked out, flip a coin if heads, your opponent can't get any points for it. It still gets KO'd, but it's a 50-50 chance for your opponent to not take any points from it. It's kind of interesting, honestly. Like, it's not a bad card. It's just like, are we really playing? Like, you know what I mean? It's like, are we playing this? Probably not. But anyway, definitely an interesting one. Dusknoir is going to be in the Mega Blaziken pack, by the way. Jirachi. This card is the Gyarados counter. It's the Magikarp Sniper, luckily. This card is actually just really good in general. 30 damage for 1 energy here, 1 psychic. 30 damage to any one of your opponent's Pokemon. It also has 50 HP, so it is searchable with Licia, although that's not a lot of HP, I'll be honest. Really strong because you can just kind of use this to take KOs on the bench at any point in the game, which is definitely pretty cool. This is coming in the Mega Altaria pack, and since Altaria would like Pokemon on its bench, I think Jirachi is definitely going to be a pretty solid option for that deck list. A very strong card. You can just snipe Magikarps while they're on the bench, which is really strong, which is probably a big reason why I think Magikarp and Gyarados will probably have to be playing Giant Capes, because Jirachi is going to be really, really strong. The Mega Altaria stuff is actually looking really decent the more I think about it with Aegislash, with Jirachi. I really like that whole archetype. We talked about it in yesterday's video. Next up is probably one of the more random cards that we could have ever gotten in the set, and one of the most important cards, I believe. This card might not see any play, but maybe it's all over the place. Here we go. It's the new baby Pokemon. There's one baby Pokemon, I think, coming in B1, and we get Chingling. Shout out to Chingling here. It is a basic baby, 30 HP. Jingly Noise. This card, by the way, is in all 3 of the packs. Okay, so that is pretty relevant. I don't know if this is also going to count as like the 6th card in a pack, but there has been news so that the shiny Pokemon, there's a lot of shiny cards coming throughout all of these packs, and they do come in like a 6-card pack. So if you get a shiny Pokemon, just like you did with babies, you'll get 6 cards in that pack. So it's not taking up another slot. Definitely relevant. But anyway, Chingling here, 30 HP, Jingly Noise, 10 damage. Again, no energy in the attack cost here because this is a baby Pokemon. This reads that during your opponent's next turn, they can't play any item cards from their hand. Hello? Yes, we are getting the Badoo from the official TCG. This card is crazy. We get just turn 1 item lock on a baby Pokemon. This is really relevant. Now, I don't know. Pokemon Pocket is different than the official card game, so I don't know if this card will actually see that much play realistically, because, like, sure, you stop your opponent from using Rare Candy, from using Pokeballs, from using all of that stuff, but it can just get KO'd, right? So I think that this is going to be really, really relevant, but what it's going to do is force some of those stage 2 like mega Pokemon decks to play other attacking options, right? They're not just going to play like Cleffa and not have anything else to attack with, because Chingling will just lock you out of ever being able to, evolve, right, with Rare Candy. So I think things like Mega Blaziken, you're going to have to play them with like Entei, and then I think, of course, or play the middle evolution so you don't have to play Rare Candy, or, of course, you can just play maybe just some other attacking option like a Raikou in Ampharos, but effectively, like, this card's going to be really relevant, but it's fairly easy to play around. This is kind of like a free point, but maybe other mega decks or evolution decks play Chingling. You know what I mean? Because if you're Chinglinging your opponent, then it doesn't really matter if they're, if you're getting Chinglinged yourself. My cat is screaming in the background, by the way. I gotta go let him in. Give me 1 sec. All right, my cat has been let into my room, and now hopefully he doesn't yell at me. Anyway, we have Chingling. Yeah, it's crazy. This is a crazy card. It's really hard to really describe what I think about this card, because it's really easy to counterplay around, but if nobody's counterplaying this card, then they're just going to lose to it, right? Because there's so many decks that are playing Rare Candies and they're not playing like any other evolution Pokemon, but like a thing like a Suicune can just KO Chingling and then Rare Candy to Greninja, right? So like, it's one of those weird Pokemon where the chip damage might matter, but probably not. It just really comes down to the fact that these Mega Evolution EX Pokemon, if they're not playing alternate attacking options, then they're going to struggle, but Chingling can just get KO'd by like the basic version of all of those Megas. You know what I mean? So like, in my mind, I think Chingling is definitely really strong, but I also don't know if it'll really ever be worth playing. You know what I mean? Just because it's so easy to just KO it. You know what I mean? So it's a really interesting card. I think that, honestly, I don't know if Chingling will ever actually see play, but like the theory of it is really impressive, and I think this card could be absolutely insane. So shout out to Chingling. We are getting it. What is it? Like Itchy Pollen, I think is the name of Badoo's attack. So it's coming to Pokemon Pocket. I think it'll have a very different impact. The official Pokemon TCG is very different from Pokemon Pocket, right? It's just a different world where like stopping your opponent from like setting up their board on their first turn like is very relevant, because like that's really what the official card game is all about, is like setting up your board state. Whereas in Pokemon Pocket, it's less relevant because you're just gonna get like KO'd in 1 turn and then what? You know what I mean? So I don't know how I really feel about Chingling, but it is really cool to see it come into the game. We also have Cofagrigus, which has Soul Shot, 120 damage, stage 1, 120 HP, psychic type. Discard 2 cards from your hand. hand. If you can't discard 2 cards from your hand, this attack does nothing. So again, like just so many of these like 3 diamond cards really are very underwhelming. But anyway, next up is Gothitelle. Oh, we forgot. So Cofagrigus is in the Mega Gyarados pack. Next up, we have Gothitelle, stage 2, 130 HP Psychic type. Stellar Cradle, 70 damage. My cat has joined me on my chair. You guys can't see it. Stellar Cradle, 70 damage during your opponent's next turn. If they attach an energy from their energy zone to the defending Pokemon, that Pokemon will be asleep. So this is kind of like a lock, right? So if you attack your opponent, they just can't really attach energies to their active Pokemon or else they'll fall asleep. So which is kind of a cool effect here. It's very similar to like Bayonet, but it's a stage 2 Pokemon, does a little bit more damage. Again, it's really cool. It could be kind of a niche sort of off-meta, strategy, but it again, like Mega Blaziken, you know what I mean? Like that's what this really comes down to is like at the end of the day, so these Mega Pokemon are so broken. We have 6 like really strong Megas and a lot of really cool ancillary Pokemon in here, but most of them are just very niche. And I don't know if they're really going to see that much play other than in specific scenarios where other decks are really relevant. You know what I mean? So it's nice to have all of these sort of counterplay options here, but like from in a vacuum perspective, a lot of these cards just don't really seem that strong. And that's really what you can expect. Like if you think back to like when Genetic Apex came out, we had so many cards and really only like 10 of them saw play. You know what I mean? It's just like the reality of Pokemon Pocket and really any TCG set. Nothing can be like all of the same skill level, like or power level, because it just doesn't make sense. A card has to be strong because the other cards aren't as good as it. You know what I mean? That's just how it works. We are getting Klefki, which I was scared when I first saw this card, but it's not that crazy. Basic here, 50 HP. Dismantling Keys. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon is on your bench, you may discard all tool cards from your opponent's active Pokemon, and if you do, you discard this Pokemon. Again, it's like, okay, cool, right? I mean, like, it's nice that we have this card, but will anybody play this card? Probably not. You know what I mean? It's definitely interesting. Next up, though, is Indeedee EX, which, again, another one of those like weird specific hard counter cards. It's a basic Pokemon, 130 HP Psychic type, retreat cost of 1. The ability Watch Over. Once during your turn, you may heal 20 damage from your active Pokemon. No restrictions, so it doesn't matter what typing that Pokemon is or what, you can just heal 20 damage from it. That is actually really strong. This could actually just see play with Altaria as a healing option and just an additional Pokemon on the bench. Could be useful in some matchups as well. And then it has the Psychic attack, which for 2 Psychic does 30 damage plus 30 more for each energy attached to all of your opponent's, attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. So again, this card here is a specific counter to something like a Giratina. Giratina with 4 energies, or even Guzzlord if it has 4 energies, you can kind of swoop in here and then deal 150 damage, which is pretty strong. So to me, this is like a specific counter to something like a Giratina EX. It's a basic Psychic for 2 energies, can hit for 150 on a Giratina. So again, like just like how, Whimsicott EX is like a specific hard counter to Guzzlord, I think Indeedee is a specific really hard counter to Giratina EX. So it's interesting that we have these types of cards. Again, if Guzzlord or Giratina is super relevant in the metagame, sure, we have these cards to counterplay them. I just don't know if they necessarily will. So that's what's interesting here. The healing ability, though, is pretty interesting. It's not as strong as like Espeon because you can do it twice. Theoretically, you can do it twice with Indeedee as well and heal for 40 damage, which is strong. But yeah, maybe Indeedee is broken, actually, now that we think about it. Who knows? It's only got 130 HP, though. Definitely not a bad Pokemon. I mean, as far as all of these EX Pokemon go, it's actually pretty good. Seemingly a lot better than literally, guys, the only fighting EX card coming in B1, which is Hitmonchan EX. 130 HP basic fighting type Pokemon, quick straight, 50 damage for 1 fighting, but this attack's damage isn't affected by weakness, so that is really sad. Unfortunately here, Hitmonchan will not be one in KOing EVs or anything like that. It will be just one in KOing baby Pokemons, which is pretty cool, so it's an aggressive card here. Theoretically, I don't think this card's actually bad. It's just tough that we're not hitting for weakness, right? So, we can't KO a type null with the Giovanni. We can't KO an EV unless we have Giovanni. It's a little bit unfortunate that we're not hitting some of those basic, colorless Pokemon for weakness. So it's only 50 damage no matter what your opponent's weak to. It is a little bit annoying. This card here is hilarious to me because this is the only fighting EX card we're getting, and I find that to be absolutely hilarious. So shout out to Hitmonchan EX. Will it see play? Probably not, but maybe. I mean, again, you could play this as just sort of the leadoff option, right? It's only 1 energy. It'll probably stick around for a couple of turns. It's not that bad. It's going to just snipe a bunch of baby Pokemon in the active, which is kind of cool, but Yeah, man. Not the fighting card I think everybody was hoping for, I'm not going to lie. We are getting Hariyama. This is not a rare card, but there is the new Holo supporter does work with this anyway. 4 energies, slapping knockdown 110 before doing damage, discard all tool cards from your opponent's active Pokemon. Again, not a good card whatsoever. We're getting a new Crocodile, which is a stage 2 fighting Pokemon. Again, how are we getting 3 energies on this thing? Who knows? But anyway, Chomp Chomp Bite, 90 damage, flip a coin until you get tails. For each heads, discard a random energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. So the energy discard, 90 damage, 3 energies. It's a stage 2 fighting Pokemon. Just really hard to justify playing it. Next up, though, is the other fossil Pokemon from the set, which is Archeops. Shout out to Archeops, a very, very interesting card here. Again, it's a fossil Pokemon, stage 2, 140 HP fighting type, 1 energy, fighting, Wild Spin. This attack does 20 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon. During your next turn, this Pokemon's Wild Spin attack does plus 20 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon. I don't know if this stacks. Like I think Miltank stacks. I don't know if this stacks. If it does, this card could be crazy because 20 damage to every Pokemon is a lot, but then 40 damage to every Pokemon is a lot. And if we do get 3 attacks off with Archeops, 60 damage to all of your opponent's Pokemon. It adds up to be quite a lot. This card could be a real issue if it does stack. If it caps at 40, it's like not bad, but relatively speaking, this card is very interesting because it can just win the game in 1 attack, take multiple KOs. So really, really cool. This is going to be a really punishing deck card against like decks that are playing multiple baby Pokemon or have like, 2 or 3 low HP Pokemon on their bench, which is really interesting. I like Archeops. You can Giant Cape it to 160. Definitely interesting. I think Rampardos is probably still better because it just does damage to the active, which is probably relevant. But anyway, shout out to Archeops. Definitely interesting card. Next up is Golurk, Heavy Rocket. 60 damage. Reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. This attack does 60 damage for each Pokemon with a retreat cost of 3 or more that you find there. Shuffle the revealed cards back into your deck. Again, I don't know. I just don't know. Maybe there's a way to play Golurk, but it's definitely a bit of an awkward Pokemon, I will say. We are getting Colossal here. Cold Drop. I keep forgetting to mention what packs these cards are in. I greatly apologize. I don't really remember. Indeedee is going to be in the Mega Altaria pack. If we go fast forward to Hitmonchan, this is going to be in the Mega Blaziken pack. What else did we talk about here? Archeops is going to be in the Blaziken pack as well. What do we got next? Golurk. So yeah, Golurk was also in the Mega Blaziken pack, sure. And then again, Terrakion. So Terrakion is the same as the other ones. It's just a fighting type, Sacred Sword 110. If we fast forward here to Colossal, Cold Drop, 3 fighting energies, 100 damage. If your opponent's active Pokemon is a grass Pokemon, this does 50 more damage. Cool. You know what I mean? Like, nice. Mega Gyarados. So many, like, just random filler cards in here. This new Honchkrow is kind of crazy, though, by the way. This Honchkrow is in the Mega Gyarados pack, 100 HP, stage 1, double colorless, evil admonition, 40 damage. It does 40 more damage for each of your opponent's Pokemon in play that has an ability. So, rest in peace to Suicune. We're just absolutely bopping for 160 damage. Honchkrow is crazy. It is actually one of the strongest Pokemon in this set, which is pretty cool. Only 100 HP, though. Double colorless. I mean, it's a stage 1. It's a pretty specific counterplay deck, like counterplay card. Like, this card can't just 1 KO stuff, which is pretty cool. But again, the HP thresholds are a lot higher now with Mega Pokemon, so you got to keep that in mind. Definitely interesting. And here we have Mega Absol EX. We've already talked about it. Shout out to Absol. 80 damage. Choose a supporter card from your opponent's hand and discard it. Not a bad card. We've talked about it in previous videos. We have Absol, the basic Absol here, which has also Ominous Claw. 50 damage for 2 dark. Flip a coin. If heads, your opponent reveals their hand. Choose a supporter card you find there and discard it. So basically the exact same card as the Mega, but it's just objectively worse, which is unfortunate. But that Honchkrow is pretty cool. Honchkrow is going to be in the Mega Gyarados pack, and Absol is also going to be in the Mega Gyarados pack. So if you're opening Gyarados, you get Absol and Gyarados. If you're opening the Blaziken pack, you get Blaziken and what is it? You get Blaziken and Pinsir, and then if you're opening the Altaria pack, you get Altaria and Ampharos, I think is how that works. So you determine which pack you're going to open for sure. People always ask me, like, can you make a video as to like which pack I should open? But like, that's what we're doing today. You know what I mean? It's just like, you see the cards and then you just, you pick which cards you want from which pack. You don't need me telling you that in a specific video. Anyway, Darkrai, we're getting a new 3 diamond Darkrai, 120 HP, Shadow Cage, 70 damage for 3 dark. Again, how are we getting 3 energies on this thing? Well, I guess it's 2 dark and a colorless, but anyway, similar to the other Darkrai. During your opponent's next turn, the defending Pokemon can't retreat. I don't think we're ever playing that card, personally. That's my opinion. Hydreigon. Hydreigon is a really cool card that was showcased in the trailer. 150 HP, stage 2 Pokemon. Roar of the Unison, or Roar in Unison, rather. Once during your turn, you may take 2 dark energies from your energy zone. and attach it to this Pokemon. If you do, deal 30 damage to this Pokemon. Sure, yeah, I mean, it's just a free 130 with Hyper Ray. You discard all of the energies. It can work as like an energy battery with Dawn, but we can't like, that's the only way to move the energies, so maybe you play Hydreigon with Absol and Dawn. I don't know, it's a little bit awkward. Hydreigon's definitely a strong Pokemon, but an interesting one nonetheless. Pangoro, 120 HP, stage 1, Overdrive Smash, 30 damage. For 1 dark during your next turn. This Pokemon's Overdrive Smash does 30 more damage, or plus 30 damage. So 30, then 60, hopefully the stack so they can do 90. It's a cool Pokemon. Again, you know, a little bit underwhelming as all of these 3 diamond cards are, to be 100% honest with you. We are getting a new Dragalge EX, which is a stage 1 dark type Pokemon here, 150 HP. It's got the ability Poison Point, so if you take damage by an attack from your opponent's active Pokemon, you poison it, and it does 80 damage for 1 dark, 1 colorless. Again, to me, it's like, you know, sure, like I don't mind it, but at the same time, it's like, you know, what is this card really doing other than just sort of, you know, maybe tanking a hit, maybe not, and then poisoning, and then dealing 80 damage? Like a lot of these cards are a little bit underwhelming, I'm not gonna lie. Retreat cost of 2. It's just, you know, it's tough. Like, again, we're comparing and contrasting all of these cards to the Megas, which really are the front runners for the set, and none of these EX cards really stand out to me. Like, Indeedee's definitely strong, but yeah, like a lot of them are kind of interesting, I guess is one way to say it. Grimmsnarl here, rack down, 100 damage for 3 dark, 160, stage 2. Bad card. What do we got? We got Cobalion, which is, again, another Sacred Sword user here, 110 HP. This is a Steel type Pokemon. And then we have the Aegislash. Shout out to Aegislash, a really, really cool Pokemon here. Cursed Metal is broken. This is going to be like, this is a really big deal. This is like fighting Coach Lucario, but it's a stage 2 Pokemon, and it's for Psychic and Metal Pokemon, 30 damage to your opponent's active, plus 30. So it's really strong, and this does stack, so you could potentially be doing plus 60 with double Aegislashes on the bench. This works for Psychic Pokemon as well, so you can play it with Altaria. It's really interesting. I like Aegislash with Sylveon. That's a deck that I've been thinking about as well. So I like it. I like Aegislash. I think this card is broken. We've talked about it before, and we built decks with it in yesterday's video. We are getting a Melmetal. I keep forgetting. I really do. Dragalge is in the Mega Blaziken pack. I can't, for some reason, I can't remember to do this. Hydreigon also, it's actually in the Mega Gyarados pack. Hydreigon is, if we fast forward here to Aegislash will be in the Mega Blaziken pack. The Mega Blaziken pack is looking absolutely insane. I was kind of hoping Mega Aegislash would be in the Altaria pack, but it's not. And then we have Melmetal EX. Oh, Melmetal EX, 170 HP, stage 1 metal type EX Pokemon, so it is a tanky boy. Headbutt, 80 damage for 2 metal and a colorless. Again, how are we getting the metal energies on? Are we playing this with Dialga EX? That doesn't sound very good to me. 80 damage, retreat cost of 3, by the way. This is going to be in the Mega Gyarados pack. 4 energies, 3 metal, and 1 colorless, 100 damage, and if this Pokemon has a tool attached, you do 150. That's actually not bad. You got to think, like, we can cape this thing or put on, like, the metal apron, and this thing is definitely going to be fairly difficult to, you know, to deal with, and it does 150 damage for 4. So, like, I actually don't mind this as a partner with Dialga. It could be, like, not a bad strategy to go 2 prizers into 2 prizer, and then just, like, have a big old boy here hitting for 150. It's actually, like, not terrible. I know this card looks really bad, but truthfully speaking, like, you know, in a slower kind of build up ramp deck, we can play this with Dialga, and it's not horrible. But definitely a little bit underwhelming. I mean, 150 damage, 170 HP is like kind of crazy. I'm not gonna lie. Definitely not that bad. Again, Mega Pokemon, but in a previous metagame, maybe Melmetal would be relevant. Corviknight, one of my favorite Pokemon of all time, 140 HP, stage 2 metal type. Iron Wings, 100 damage, discard 2 metal energy from this Pokemon, and then during your opponent's next turn, you take 50 less damage. The issue with this is that how are we getting multiple metal energies on this thing in 1 turn? We don't have like a metal patch or a metal saucer from back in the day in the OCG. So yeah, Corviknight, unfortunately very underwhelming for sure. We are getting a couple of dragons. Druddigon here does Giga Claw 120 for 4 energies. Flip 2 coins if both of them are tails. This attack does nothing. That card is horrible, really, really bad. We talked about Goomy. The sticky membrane Goomy is really, really cool. It's an anti-baby card here, so as long as this Pokemon is in the active spot, attacks used by your opponent's active Pokemon cost 1 more colorless energy. So this does basically stop your opponent from using baby Pokemon on their first turn, which is pretty cool. I do kind of like it. It also works for anything, but just specifically because it's an inactive ability, so if you lead with Goomy, it does kind of counterplay baby Pokemon. It evolves into Goodra, stage 2, 150 HP dragon Pokemon. Water, Psychic, colorless, 100 damage, and you heal 40 from this guy. Again, a little bit underwhelming in my honest opinion. All right, so now on to the colorless Pokemon. There are some interesting examples here. We're getting a new Pidgeot, which has Twister 80 damage here for 2 colorless energies. Flip 2 coins for each heads. Discard a random energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. But if both of them are tails, this attack does nothing. A very interesting card here. Like, discarding energies like that can be pretty strong, but 80 damage, stage 2, colorless. I don't know how I really feel about Pidgey. I'm not gonna lie. It's not even like a 3-diamond. It's a 2-diamond card, which is pretty funny. We are getting Tauros EX, which to me is actually one of the more interesting Pokemon, EX Pokemon in this set here. It's a basic colorless EX Pokemon, just like a Snorlax or whatever, or Arceus. This to me is like a baby Arceus. 140 HP, 2 colorless energies, wild tackle, 90 damage. Flip a coin. If tails, this attack also does 30 damage to itself. This is from the Mega Altaria pack. This card might seem underwhelming to you, but like this is a colorless card you can put in literally any deck. 2 energies makes it very easy to set up in literally like any scenario known to man in Pokemon Pocket, and it does 90 damage. Yes, you could potentially deal 30 damage to yourself, but 90 damage is 90 damage. Splashable, can put in basically any deck. You can attack on your second turn going first with baby Pokemon. This card is really not that bad. 90 times 2 is 180. That is going to KO basically to a KO any non-EX card in the game, or non-Mega EX card, or I guess any basic EX card, I guess is what I'm trying to say. No, I mean, yeah, like 180. I mean, that's KOing a lot of stuff. Again, the breakpoints are going to be a little bit confusing now with Mega Pokemon coming up. But Mega Tauros here from the Mega Altaria pack is actually one of my favorite cards. I don't know if this is a card that will see play, but theoretically speaking, it could be valuable in like any deck, which is pretty cool. So I kind of like it. Like, this is a good inclusion to like daycare decks potentially. We're getting a new Eevee, another new Eevee here with boosted evolution, Stampede 10 damage, 50 HP. So this is the only Eevee with 50 HP. I believe the other ones have 60. I could be entirely wrong about that. But 50 HP, which is relevant. We can play this with Lycia, which is pretty cool. And it has boosted evolution. As long as this Pokemon is in the active spot, it can evolve during your first turn or the turn you play it, which is really cool. So not only can we evolve Jolteon on our first turn, going first, basically if Eevee's in the active spot, but we can also evolve like Sylveon on our first turn going first, or anything really, which is pretty cool. So I think that this is probably meant to be paired with the new Jolteon. It's very fast, very aggro here, and it does work with Lycia. However, it has to be in the active spot, so it's a little bit awkward in that sense, and we can't attach energies on our first turn. But anyway, being able to evolve an evolution the first turn you play it is pretty impressive, especially Jolteon having 2 energies in its attack cost, which means that theoretically speaking, with Pichu and Zeraora and E-Switch and stuff, we can actually not only evolve into Jolteon the same turn we play the Eevee, but also attack with that Jolteon, which is definitely kind of interesting. So I like what they're doing here with this new Eevee and the new Jolteon EX. Definitely fast-paced, very aggressive combo there. I definitely do quite like it, so shout out to another new Eevee. It's like the 8th Eevee card that we've gotten, but, you know, why not? Let's fast forward to Exploud. 3 colorless, Booming Roar, 90 damage during your opponent's next turn. They cannot play any item cards from their hand, so this is a stage 2 colorless, item lock card. Again, it's kind of like, why are we playing it? We have Chingling, you know what I mean? Do we really need Exploud? Who knows? Delcatty, though, a very, very interesting card here. Stage 1, colorless, 80 HP. Search for friends. Once during your turn, when you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon, you may put a supporter card from your discard pile into your hand. Now, this could be really useful for a variety of reasons, right? You could basically play Delcatty and then play like a bunch of one-of supporter cards, and then like kind of always get the card that you want. Maybe you've already played Cyrus, maybe you evolved Delcatty, pull out that Cyrus, use it again. Maybe you do that with a research, or really any supporter card. Again, I don't know if Pokemon Pocket games go like long enough for this card to be that consistent or that relevant. A card like this in the official TCG would be really strong, but Pokemon Pocket is a completely different game. I do like this ability a lot, search for friends. At the same time, it's like, are we really playing, a stage 1 Pokemon specifically for this effect? Probably not, right? That's just the reality. Pokemon Pocket's about, early game setup, dealing damage, making the right plays. Like, it's just not really about like playing into the long game and then playing like a really, a specific card here to use a specific supporter card that might be in your discard pile. You know what I mean? This could be counterplay to things like Gyarados and whatnot that discard supporter cards, or Absol. But in the same vein here, I don't know if Gyarados or Absol are going to be the best decks in the game, so we'll have to wait and see. But we do have Delcatty, which is definitely interesting. We are getting an Altaria, of course, just because Mega Altaria, but this is colorless instead of Psychic, because it's not an evolution, or it's not a Mega, so it's not a Fairy type, I guess. Do the Wave, 20 damage, 20 more for each of your benched Pokemon, double colorless. This card, not very good. I like the Dragon type Altaria better. I'm not gonna lie to you. We are getting a new Stoutland, which is pretty cool. Dangerous Bite, 70 damage. If your opponent's active Pokemon is a basic Pokemon, we do 140. for a stage 2 colorless for 3 colorless energies, right? So again, interesting, but you know, nothing to like scream home about, you know, nothing to like really jump out your window in shock about. Anyway, that's all of the Pokemon. So I know like a lot of this was probably a little bit underwhelming. That's the reality of it. If you look at every Pokemon Pocket set, most of the cards are pretty underwhelming. A lot of this stuff is actually really specifically strong in some scenarios, but I would say most of the best cards coming in B1 were cards that we saw already in the announcement trailer. They definitely did that pretty correct. They showed us all of the best Pokemon already. But there's a lot of other cards, item cards, supporter cards, tool cards, things like that we'll take a look at. But I would say the Mega Pokemon, definitely the biggest deal here in the set. A couple of the 3 diamond cards are really strong. Aegislash, Lilligant, things like that. Chandelure really does surprise me as far as normal EX Pokemon go. I like Indeedee. I really do like Jolteon to some degree. I like Tauros. A lot of interesting cards in this set in terms of Pokemon, but a lot of really just, throwaway cards that no one's really ever going to play. Theoretically speaking, if we were to get like a rotation, which we probably won't, this could be a really fun time to do that just because there's so many cards in the game that, having such a large card pool really does limit the viability of cards when they enter the game. They have to be exceptionally strong. Again, Whimsicott specifically really, really good into Guzzlord. Indeedee really good into Giratina. Greninja is interesting. Jolteon is interesting. Tauros, Hitmonchan, these are interesting cards, but I think the Mega Pokemon definitely carrying in terms of, where Pokemon go. But a lot of different, trainer cards. So let's talk about all of the trainers here. We've got Prank Spinner here. A card from among both players' hands is chosen at random, revealed to the other player, and then shuffled into its owner's deck. This is a very funny card here. This could be interesting in a scenario like in a control deck where it's the last card in your hand, right? And then you play it, and then it's effectively just like a free, hand card removal from your opponent's hand, which is kind of funny. But also, like, there's cards that let you see what's in your opponent's hand, right? So you could play Silver and then play Prank Spinner, and then effectively just really, like, you could red card, Silver, Prank Spinner, and that could be a really funny turn to just like drop your opponent down to 0 cards in their hand or 1 card in their hand. So Prank Spinner, it's interesting, but it also works for you. So it's a niche card. It could actually be broken. We'll have to see. We are getting 2 new fossils, of course, Plume Fossil, and then, of course, Cover Fossil. These work just like the other fossils, I believe, and they have 40 HP. So there you go. The cool that we got the fossils, of course, Hitting Hammer, a new item card. Flip 2 coins. If both of them are heads, discard a random energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. I don't think we're ever playing Hitting Hammer. I just don't really see it. I don't know if it works with Will. Is Will only for Pokemon effects? I don't remember, but even with Will, this is a card that's inconsistent. You have like a 25% chance to discard an energy from your opponent's active Pokemon with an item card. It could be funny, but if it was a 50-50 chance, then probably it might see play, but like as an item card, why play this? I would rather just play like Team Rocket Grunt. It's just definitely way, way better. I don't think Hitting Hammer is very good at all. Of course, Flame Patch. Attach a fire energy from your discard pile to your active fire Pokemon. This card is broken. Going to see a ton of play. Absolutely meta-defining card. Really excited for it. Citrus Berry is interesting. We talked about this already at the end of each turn. If the Pokemon this card is attached to is half of its maximum HP or less remaining, heal 30 damage from it if you do discard this card. This is going to be really good for like Oricorio because like the burn damage and stuff, like it's going to actually be pretty relevant. It would be this metagame, right? Because like Oricorio into like Giratina Darkrai, basically like the free healing pop of 30 HP could be really relevant. It's not bad, but I don't know. Like, I don't know if this is a card that'll see that much play. It theoretically would be better than a Giant Cape, but I don't know. Like, it's a little bit strange to me. Maybe it's worth playing, maybe not. Probably only going to see play on like really specific Pokemon like Oricorio or really high HP Pokemon that are definitely living 1 attack, right? Interesting Citrus Berry. Heavy Helmet. If the Pokemon this card is attached to has a retreat cost of 3 or more, it takes 20 less damage from attacks from your opponent's Pokemon. So this is like a universal metal saddle or metal, whatever the metal tool card is. But for any Pokemon with a retreat cost of 3 or more. So it's interesting. It's definitely a cool card. Very, very niche. I don't know if it's going to see that much play. Lucky Mittens, another tool card here. Whenever your opponent's Pokemon is knocked out by damage from an attack by the Pokemon this card is attached to, you draw an additional card. I don't know if I love this, but it also, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like it's a weird one. Like a lot of these cards are just like very interesting, but I think they're more like, they're more like spice cards. They're not really like meta defining cards. Like you can't compare Lucky Mittens to Flame Patch. You know what I mean? It's just kind of how it goes. Listen, they had to put in a bunch of cards in the game. Some of them are going to be absolutely broken and meta-defining. Some of them not so much. You know what I mean? Lucky Mittens, it's a cool card. I'm not putting too much weight into it. Here is Marlin. So this heals 70 damage from one of your Carracosta or Jellicent. Yeah, so I was right. Carracosta was the Pokemon there that was immune to damage from basic Pokemon, which is pretty cool, but 70 damage healing is a lot. Jellicent and Carracosta, those are 2 Pokemon that might not really see play in the metagame. Both water-type Pokemon. Shout out to Marlin. Such a random card. Hala. A supporter card here. During your opponent's next turn, if your Hariyama or Crabominable would be knocked out by damage from an attack, it is not knocked out. Its remaining HP becomes 10. I don't even know if we took a look at Crabominable, but we did take a look at Hariyama. Crabominable is right here. Last chance punch, 30 damage. If this Pokemon's remaining HP is 30 or less, this attack does 60 more. Maybe we did take a look at that. Really not that strong of a card here. I guess we got to talk about the packs that these cards are coming in. So like Prank Spinner is going into Mega Blaziken pack. This Fossil is going into Plume Fossil is going into Mega Blaziken, along with Archeops. Cover Fossil going into Gyarados with Caracosta. Hitting Hammer is going to be in the Mega Gyarados pack. Flame Patch, of course, is going to be in the Mega Blaziken pack because it pairs with Mega Blaziken. Citrus Berry going to be in the Mega Altaria pack. Heavy Helmet going to be in the Mega Gyarados pack, and then Lucky Mittens going to be in the Mega Altaria pack as well. And then Marlin will be in the Mega Gyarados pack. So there you go. Hala is going to be in the Mega Blaziken pack. And now let's move on. I keep forgetting to do that through this entire video, but at least you get the information at some point. May. So we've talked about May before. This might be the best card in the set. This is like double Pokecon, but it works in reverse. Absolutely broken card. And this card is in the Mega Blaziken pack. So right off the bat to me, you know, if you're thinking that Mega Blaziken's the best card, which it definitely might be, you get Flame Patch and you get May in the Mega Blaziken pack. You also get Mega Pinsir. So I really like the Mega Blaziken pack right off the bat. I think that it's definitely exceptionally strong. And May here is definitely one of the best cards in the entire game. Put 2 random Pokemon from your deck into your hand. For each Pokemon you put into your hand this way, choose a Pokemon to shuffle from your hand into your deck, right? So you're putting those 2 cards from your deck, random 2 Pokemon into your hand. You can look at them and then choose out of all of the Pokemon in your hand at that time to put 2 back. So this is basically a way to guarantee some evolution Pokemon search, which is really, really cool. It's not necessarily a guarantee, but if you're playing the correct, you know, amount or quantity of Pokemon in your deck, you can effectively guarantee that the Pokemon you pull from your deck will be those evolution Pokemon, since you can play Pokeball first, then the basic Pokemon's out, and then swap them for an evolution Pokemon. It's an extremely strong card. Really the best example of evolution Pokemon support that we've gotten in the game so far. May in the Blaziken pack, absolutely insane. Next up, we have Fantina. Take a Psychic Energy from your Energy Zone and attach it to either your Drifblim or Miss Magius. This is in the Mega Altaria pack. So, did we even take a look at those cards? I don't think either of those cards are very good, but if we go up here, where is it? So, Drifblim, 20 damage for each energy attached to this Pokemon. Sure, you know, like, probably not, even with its supporter. And then what was the other one? Miss Magius here, Spooky Shot, 70 for 2. So, I mean, 2 really bad cards that are getting a supporter card for some reason. It's Pokemon Pocket likes to do this. I don't know why. Fantina, coming in the Mega Altaria pack, just not really something I would ever play, quite frankly. Maybe in like a non-EX archetype tournament, but yeah. Fantina, it's complete filler. Copycat. Let's talk about Copycat, because this is a card that was leaked here. We didn't get this card previously. This card is crazy. Exceptionally strong Copycat, one of the new cards that I think is really influential. Shuffle your hand into your deck. Draw a card for each card in your opponent's hand. You might look at this card and think, well, it's probably not that good. Think about how many times, if you're going up against like a, you know, a Sylveon deck or you know, a Suicune deck, how many cards are in their hand, right? Copycat is during your turn. So you can actually play all of the cards in your hand, go down to literally 1 card in your hand being Copycat, and then it's effectively just a free draw 3, 4, 5, 6 cards in your deck. So Copycat will be exceptionally strong. You can play supporters on your first turn in Pokemon Pocket. So if you're going first, you can play all of these cards in your hand, go down to like 1 or 2 cards, and then play Copycat and basically just draw a ton of cards. It's a really, really strong card here. This might be a card that actually is better than Research in a lot of scenarios. So, you know, decks playing maybe Copycat and Professor's Research are going to have multiple draw options. I really like this. Now, I'm not saying that Suicune will be in the metagame or Sylveon to that degree. I think maybe also just playing Hand Disruption might be just better than Copycat, than also drawing cards yourself. But again, this is during your turn. So this effect here, this supporter card, exceptionally strong. Going to be really, really good, not only to lead off games, but just at various moments throughout games. Copycat is going to be an exceptional card here. Really, really strong. And this is going to be in the Mega Gyarados pack. Shout out to Copycat, just an absolutely incredible card. And then we have Lycia, which we've already seen. Put 2 random basic Pokemon, 50 HP or less, from your deck into your hand. Double thinning with the supporters, definitely pretty strong. You can find baby Pokemon and all of those other basics that we talked about in this video, in this review, that have 50 HP or less, like that new Eevee. There's a lot of them. There is a lot. One thing I wanted to check, though, was Honedge. Honedge has 60, so you cannot search Honedge that evolves into Aegislash with Lycia. That's important to note, for sure. But some other notable things, like Jirachi has 50 HP. If we go through here, what else has 50? Mareep has 70, which is actually a lot. Kind of crazy. So not 50 on the Mareep. Anything else here? Froakie's got 60. I'm looking for 50 HP basics. Magikarp has 50 or less, of course. Litwick to evolve into Chandelure. Chandelure, as we took a look at, also has 50 HP or less. What else do we have here? Torchic is 60. What else is 50 HP or less? Petalil, that evolves into Lilligant, is 60, so not 50. Important to note for sure. And yeah, effectively, there you go. So that's it, guys. That's the full set. These are all of the alt arts. Again, you can check out the full article here. I'm not going to go through all of them, but there are a lot here. A lot of rainbow rares. These are all of the shiny Pokemon coming in the new set. Again, I did want to mention these are the crown rares. Lilligant, Klefki, and Flame Patch. Very, very random crown rares. But yeah, we're getting a lot of really cool shinies. Decidueye, Incineroar, Palkia, Pikachu EX, Thunderbolt, Tapu Koko, Dialga EX, Arceus EX shiny, which is crazy. What's cool to mention is that all of these shiny Pokemon, again, will count as 6 cards in your pack, right? So they're not going to take up a spot in your pack, which is really, really nice. And a lot of people are pretty upset about that. So it's cool that they fixed that. Definitely. We are getting a shiny Zeraora, and we are getting the GOAT here, a shiny Oricorio. Shout out to those boys there getting shiny Pokemon, which is definitely really cool. Anything else here that's super relevant that we're getting a shiny of? Probably not. I guess Fragrance Trap Victory Bell from Genetic Apex, which is cool. Yeah. And then here are the immersive arts, this Blaziken. This isn't the videos, but that's the Blaziken. Here's the Gyarados. And then here is the Altaria. We don't have the animations. You'll see them in the game. But anyway, guys, that is our full set review. A bit of a long one. I don't know if I'll add timestamps here just because we hopped around a lot and, you know, you guys, we went in order. So it's easy to kind of flip through the video anyway. But there's my full set review. Again, the expansion comes out tonight. So we got the full set a day early, which I do appreciate us being able to kind of get ahead of the curve here. I would say that Mega Blaziken is definitely the front runner, just with May, with Blaziken, with Flame Patch. But next up, I would say Mega Altaria is probably my choice. Blaziken also gets Aegislash, I think, which is crazy. Yeah, so Blaziken pack is looking absolutely crazy. Next up would probably be the Altaria pack and then the Gyarados pack. But honestly, we'll have to just wait and see. The tournament is this weekend, guys. So the first tournament to get an understanding of the metagame to play with your new Mega Evolution Pokemon is going to be this weekend. Shout out to Box.gg for sponsoring. It is on November 1st at noon, so go and play this. The results of this will likely define the metagame for the next couple of weeks. But we have some really interesting information that I'm probably going to cover at a later time, but I will just kind of give it to you here at the end of the video, is that the ranked season will be going on like a hiatus. So the reports are that the B1 ranked season will not be starting until November 27th, which is very interesting. So we will be getting literally like a month without any ranked season, and we will be having an emblem event in place of that ranked season. So quite interesting. Luckily, though, we do have the tournament series on the weekends to kind of carry the competitive Pokemon Pocket scene. But it looks like for this first month of B1, we will not have a ranked season, which is definitely interesting. Very, very interesting. So stay tuned for that. I might make another video later tonight about all of the new events and updates coming with B1. This was just a review of all of the cards in the set. Comment down below what you guys think. Again, most of the cards in the set are going to be absolutely terrible. That's just how the game works, right? It's mostly filler, a handful of super strong meta cards and then a handful of like more niche meta cards that have potential, right? But the majority of these cards are not going to see any play. That's just the reality of it. If you think back to Genetic Apex or really any set that's come out, most of those cards are horrible. In fact, the only card that sees play this past season from Genetic Apex was Greninja. So that's the reality of it. I think this set is really all about the Mega Pokemon and all of the ancillary supporting pieces. Really curious to see. I think that the metagame will change dramatically because of all of these Pokemon and Mega Pokemon. I'm really excited about it. But anyway, stay tuned. Tune into the live stream tonight. We will be going live on YouTube and Twitch for the release of B1. Super excited about that. And then we have a bunch more videos coming here on the channel. We're going to be talking about the best decks to play, the best strategies, all of the results from the tournaments. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. I really cannot wait. So yeah, there it is, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you guys later. Comment down below what you guys thought of the set. What do you think of all of these new cards? I'm super excited. Tune into the live stream tonight. Play in the tournament this weekend. Join the Discord link down in the description below. I'm excited. I am just so happy that we have new cards, honestly. I just cannot wait. I just can't. It's just crazy to me. We've waited so long for new cards. The metagame here finally, turning a page. Things are really changing for Pokemon Pocket. And a lot of quality of life updates are coming. Again, we might talk about it in a future video. But anyway, here are all the cards. Here's the entire set of B1. Yeah, guys, let's get out of here. Super long video today. I apologize. It is what it is. Let's get out of here. Peace out. Have a good one. We'll see you guys later. And yeah. Bye.